Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, madam. My name is Amil Haris bin Amrin and I am the first presenter for this group. We are from Group 7 and this group contains four members, which is me, I'm Noel Haris bin Amiruddin, Muhammad Amirul Hafizal, Muhammad Ahmad Zikri and Mugilan. So before we proceed with the explanation for our code, I will show you the synopsis for our project and the title that we choose. Alright, so the title for our project is Part-Time Salary Calculator, and below we stated the synopsis of our project. Okay, so the synopsis is part-time salary calculator converts total salary to their corresponding values based on payment frequency. The examples of payment frequencies include hourly wage, total hours work per day, and yearly salary work. The part-time salary calculator assumes the hourly and daily salary inputs to be unadjusted values. The total salary and hourly wage are the payment from a manager to an employer for the time and works contributed. Now, it not only allows the manager to configure how many hours the employees work per day, but also how many days the employees work in a week. This is ideal for part-time employers or for people who work longer than standard full-time hours. Every employee is unique based on their job scopes, year of service, and so on. Thus, the payroll department will key in the employee's ID to differentiate them from one another and their hourly wage, which is the main calculating factor in the employer's salary. The total amount of daily hours worked will be multiplied with their hourly wage. It is important to know the exact working hours of an employee so that the amount of salary is accurate. The number of working days in a year is also the employee's annual salary. After all the due process information has been keyed in, payroll department will click on the set calculate button and the total salary for the employee will be displayed at the total salary selection. So that's all the synopsis for our project. I will proceed the project explanation by pass it to our first presenter, which is Muhammad Amirul Hafizat.
All right. Assalamualaikum, madam. Today we'll start with the first line, which is import java.text.decimal format, which we will use later to make our output into two decimal places. And then the next line, which is public class project GUI, which is the name of the file, and then extend it to Javax swing JFrame, which we will use it for the GUI and event coding. And then we will type public project GUI since we need to start it. And then after that, we will use private void in it components which have J label from 1 until 5, which we will use to input the amount of salary, the amount of wages and hours work. And then there's also J button 1 and J button 2, which is the event handling, the event coding. And then there's ID text file, and then there's homework text file, and then daily hours text file, and then there's also total salary text file, and then yearly days text file, which we will use later on. And then after that, we will set the J label 1 into ID, so we can distinguish between them. And then the next one is hourly wage, and then the third label will be daily hours work, and then the fourth one will be the total salary. And then after that, we will put the event handling button, which is we will call it the calculate button. And then basically above below this line 47 and until line uh 7, a good chunk of it would be the GUI. We would call it this is mainly the text file that we will call later on. And if we look at the line the J label 15, which is line 68, actually. Yeah. We set it to a font Arial, so it will distinguish the part-time salary calculator. Will use the font Arial size 18, so it'll be different than other text file. And then after that, there's also J button set 2, which is a reset button, is also another event handling button. And after that, there is a label 6, J label 6, so the yearly day's work, which we will touch upon later. I will pass the next code to our next presenter, Amar.
So this is basically the button size slash layout for the GUI. So we will skip over this. So this is the J button action perform is the calculate button code and also known as event handling. And below, new runnable is a thread and the calculation. And public void run, so we will calculate the salary. So the salary basically is a calculation in between the hourly wage and also the days that the employees work. Right. So this is the thread. And this is the ID text file for the ID action perform is for the employee's ID, while our while HWTF action perform is for the hourly wage for employees. TSTF action perform is for the yearly days text file. And J button to action perform is basically the reset button code and also known as event handling.
As for my part, I would like to explain about the exception handling. For the accessor modifier in main method, we have used public static void. And the try cache block is used to handle exception. And also we have used the if statement with the break. And in the cache, the condition are class not found exception, instantiation exception, illegal access exception, java.string unsupported, look and free. And for the next line, we have used the public void run method. And the last part is a variable declaration. As for all the variable declaration, we have used a public, not public, but a private access modifier. Next, we are proceed with the output of the program. Here is the GUI interface where we enter our part-time salary to calculate. For the first part, we are entering the ID. Continue with hourly wage and daily hours with yearly days work. And the total output is 14,000. So the formula we use to calculate the total output is hourly wage multiplied with daily hours work and multiply by yearly days work. So we will get the total salary of part-time.
Alright, so I will continue by explaining the last part for our project, which is networking. So for networking, we need to create two classes, which is the first class is for server and the second class is for client. So for the first class, we insert import java.net and import java.io, and both of it will be terminated with semicolon. After that, we declare the class name, which is uh, simple server, and we write it as public class simple server and open the curly bracket. Inside the curly bracket, we insert main method and we declare as to null. Just we write it as server socket s equals to null and followed by semicolon. After that, in server, we need to insert the number of port. So for line 9, we use try and catch, and for this line also explain that we need to register our service on port 5432. So the number of the port is the example that we use. So to write it, in the curly bracket, s equals to new simple socket, and in bracket, the number of port, which is 5432 and terminated by semicolon. After that, we will catch IO exception E, and E dot bring state trace a pair of parentheses and followed by semicolon. So for line 16, we run the listen or assert the frame forever, and we use while loop. So in the while loop, we also use try catch, and for this try catch, it is different, like just like the earlier one. So in this try catch, first we need to wait and listen for condition, which we write it as socket s1 equals to s dot accept, and a pair of parentheses and terminated by semicolon. After that, we get output stream associated with the socket. So we write it as output stream s1 out equals to s1 dot get output stream, a pair of parentheses and followed by semicolon. After that, buffer writer BW equals to new buffer writer in bracket new output stream writer s1 out. So for line 26, this is the output when we run the networking, which is to run the networking, we need to run server first, and after that we need to run client. So when we run simple server, the output we will show it at the last explanation. So after the output, we will close the connection but not the server socket. So we will write it as pw close and s1 close. After we have done try the input that we insert or the information that we insert into in try, so we will catch IO exception E and E dot print set trace, just like the earlier one. Right, so for the second class, which is simple client, so this is for client, just like the simple server, we include or we insert import java.net and import java.io and terminated by semicolon. And then we declare the class name by what it as public class in client, and in bracket we insert main method try and catch. So in try, we open the connection to a server at port 5432, which is we have stated in simple server class. And in this class also the local host has been used. So in line 9, this is the declaration, or we initialize it. Socket s1 equals to new socket, and host um, 127.0.0.1. So this is the value for host, and 5432 is the value for port, which is we have insert it in a simple server. So we use the same value in simple client. After that, we connect a reader to the socket, and by writing like this. After that, we read the input and print it to the screen. So the output that will come out, whether this one or the other one, which is in the simple server, which is declaration is done. So after that, when it is done, just we need to close the stream and connection by writing it as pr.close and s1.close. So this curly bracket in line 20 is end try block. So next we will catch connect exception, and if the condition is false, it will display could not connect to the server, and then it also will catch IO exception E. So for networking, just like I say just now, we need to run simple server first before we run the client server. Right, so once we run the simple server or the simple server, it will not display any output. But once we have run the simple client or client server, the output will be displayed, and the work that displayed is the calculation is done, or the text that will be displayed is the calculation is done. So I think that's all from, I guess that's all the explanation from our group about our project, which is part-time study calculator, and I think every part of in the rubric have been included in this project or this code. So thank you and assalamualaikum.